the stratified random sampling. A stratified random sample is a population, heterogeneous population, that requires the population to be divided into smaller homogeneous groups called strata. So this homogeneous group is divided, or this population, the heterogeneous population, is divided into groups by its characteristics. That's why it became homogeneous groups called strata. And then the random samples can be taken from each stratum. That's how stratified random sampling works. For example, we have here the 60 people for our population. And then, since the stratified random sampling is divided by its characteristics, we can arrange or classify the population by sex, age, ethnicity, nationality, or religion. Let's say here that we are going to divide this population according to their age. The red persons or people will have an age from 15 to 19 years old. The green from 20 to 24 years old. And then the black one would be from 25 to 29 years old. Then a random sample is to be done in each stratum. So we randomly selected them. And then these 6 persons will be part of our sample. A subset of sample is drawn from each stratum and form the random sample. Third method is we have the cluster sampling. Cluster sampling is accomplished by dividing the population into groups, usually geographically. These groups are called clusters or blocks. The clusters are randomly selected and each element in the selected clusters are used. This cluster sampling is used in marketing research. For example, in our population of 60 people, which lives in the same barangay, we will divide them geographically. So these are the clusters. This would be the Purok 1, Purok 2, Purok 3, and then Purok 4. Here, we're going to randomly select one or more clusters or blocks. Let us assume that we randomly selected Purok 1 and then Purok 3. If we're going to use all the elements as the sample in the cluster of Purok 1 and Purok 3, that is what we call the one-stage cluster sampling. But if we are going to randomly select a sample from the selected cluster Purok 1, that is called two-stage cluster sampling. We randomly selected 3 from the Purok 1 and 3 from the selected cluster Purok 3. And that is two-stage cluster sampling. The difference between cluster sampling and stratified sampling is that cluster sampling is done on a population of clusters, while stratified sampling is done on the elements within each strata. And other one is that the only selected clusters in the cluster sampling are being sampled. And then a random sample is drawn from each of the strata. That is the stratified sampling. That is the difference between the two. The fourth method is we have the systematic sampling. Systematic sampling is defined as a probability sampling method where the researcher chooses elements from a target of population by selecting a random starting point and selecting other members after a fixed sampling interval. It is appropriate in situation where complete population unit is available in sequential and systematic order. From the word systematic, so we have to form a system. Systematic sampling is a mix of random sampling and stratified random sampling. How? First, the first unit is selected randomly. That is the starting point. And then, stratified random sampling exists when the k unit when the k unit or the sampling interval is being selected. It is called strata. For example, this is the population. We are going to select our first unit randomly. Let us assume we randomly select the third person. And then, most researchers calculate the sampling interval, or the k, by dividing the entire population size, 60, by the desired sample size. Let's say our desired sample size is 10. So, divide the entire population by the sample size. 60 divided by 10 is 6. So from our starting point, the third person, we are going to count 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That person will be included as our sample. Then let us count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sample. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sample. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Part of the sample. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sample. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sample. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sample. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Sample. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, let us check if we meet the sample size of 10. Let us count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 3 from the red one. 4 from the black. 3 from the green. So, 3 plus 4 plus 3 is equal to 10. But as you can see here, they are not equal when we look at it through their characteristics. And then that is how systematic sampling works. Then we have the last step or the last method, the multi-stage random sampling. With this method, we are just going to select a sample by using combinations of different sampling methods. We can use the 4 methods discussed before to perform this one. For example, we have to consider a problem of sampling students in grade schools. First, we're going to use the stratified random sampling. We're going to begin with a national sample of school districts, national. We're going to divide them economically and by educational level. Then, within the selected districts, we are going to do a simple random sample of schools. Within the school, we might do a simple random sample of classes or grades. And then, within the classes, we might even do a simple random sample of students. So, a 3 or more probability sampling method is used stratified, and then we use the simple random sample 3 times. So that is what we call the multi-stage random sampling.